All right, so for more reaction to the president's announcement, plus where the Republicans go from here, let's bring in Congressman Jason Chaffetz. He is a member of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Congressman, thanks for taking the time. What did you think of the president's press conference just now?
Well, the president is making it up as he's going along. He's contributing to the chaos that is affecting millions of Americans. This was a terribly conceived law. They did it in isolation without any Republican support. You have millions of people who are losing their insurance. They got a website that doesn't work. And the president, I think there are a lot of us here on Capitol Hill wondering how the president thinks he can just unilaterally decide what the law is and what it isn't. That's the role for Congress. And for him to just bypass this is very frustrating. But again, as was pointed out quickly by the insurance companies, this doesn't necessarily solve the problem who has got a notice that their insurance is going to be discontinued. It doesn't solve that problem necessarily.
So Congressman, we have an interesting new Fox News poll out, and it shows just how the Democrats and the Republicans are faring with this Obamacare debacle. Perhaps we can pull it up for you. It basically shows an 11-point swing from just 3 weeks ago when respondents were asked if the election for Congress were held today, how would you vote? Republicans got 37% back then. Democrats got 45%. Now, 3 weeks later, it has swung to Republicans getting more votes, 43%, to Democrats, 40%. So is it enough, Congressman, for Republicans to just sit back and watch this debacle unfold and watch their numbers go up, or do you need to present some sort of viable alternative to the Affordable Care Act?
No, look, health care is very personable, and we have to make sure that that mother, the father, the child, the grandparent, these are real people's lives. I know the Democrats have tried to paint Republicans as just some political monster that are scoring political points. No, we have been foreshadowing these problems for a long time and offering a variety of solutions that would help the average American. And even the president today admitted that he was still holding on to this idea that we would drive down the cost of health care. That's not happening. When people start to get the sticker shock and start to recognize how expensive this is going to be, I think they're going to eventually look back to Republicans who foreshadowed this, offered alternatives, offered suggestions, and wanted to work in a collaborative way, none of which the president wanted to do.
I want to bring up some of those alternatives the Republicans offered back in 2009, because I went back and I pulled up what you all called the Common Sense Health Care Reform and Affordability Act, and you had some suggestions for state-based high-risk insurance pool for pre-existing health conditions. Obviously, everybody wants pre-existing health conditions covered. You also suggested health insurance companies sell policies across state lines. And you wanted to, most importantly, I think, was the tort reform, impose caps on medical liability. But none of that caught fire the way the Affordable Care Act did. So why didn't, back then in 2009, why didn't some of these alternatives go further?
Well, you got a liberal agenda with the Democrats. You know, one of the others I would add is Congressman Darrell Iss's bill, which basically says you as American people can participate in the same plan that members of Congress and federal employees participate in. There are over 500 different plans, allow anybody, regardless of pre-existing conditions, to come in and buy into that system. That would help solve the problem and provide relief and good, decent coverage that's good enough for Congress. It's good enough for the federal employees. We all know how rich those plans are, right? Well, why not allow the American people to actually buy into those plans and have that be the basis? There are lots of alternatives. Just don't buy the Democrats' line that we're these cold, heartless people that just want to push grandma off the cliff. People are beyond that now. They recognize now, when the president's having to walk all this back, that those were lies, and they were just, you know, the president overstated, misled, and oversold his program to the American people. He was elected to a second term on that, and he's going to pay the political price, and the Democrats are as well.
In 2009, what the CBO said the problem was with the Republicans' proposal was that it did virtually nothing to reduce the percentage of Americans who were uninsured. That's a big problem. Something like 40 million Americans, as the president said just today, are uninsured. So what now will the Republicans do? Should we look for a new plan that incorporates some of these old proposals in, or are Republicans just going to sit on the sidelines and wait to see what happens with Obamacare?
We have never sat on the sidelines. As I said, we're dealing with real people and their family. Their insurance for millions of people is running out at the end of December. We have to have viable alternatives for it. And the president has got to work with this. At this press conference today, he talked about a lot of people he worked with. The only ones he's never worked with are Republicans in the Congress. I represent 800,000 people. We think we have some ideas to contribute, Mr. President. Start working with the Congress in a collaborative way, and we can figure this out. We can't just have him unilaterally making it up and providing the chaos to the American people that we have now.
A problem solving, that is what the Americans say they want. Congressman Jason Chaffetz, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Alex.
We're going to have much more on these major new developments on Obamacare, including what the president's announcement really means for your next trip to the doctor. Dr. Mark Siegel is going to be here to tell us about that.
Plus, real concerns that employer-provided insurance plans will be next to go, as the president admits his biggest domestic achievement has raised serious doubts with millions of people.
I'm just going to keep on working as hard as I can around the priorities that the American people care about. And I think it's legitimate for them to expect me to have to win back some credibility on this health care law in particular and on a whole range of these issues in general.